Next, we start with a slime mold. So, when we talk about a slime mold is a second group of a protist, and here in slime mold, consumer decomposer protists are belong. So, consumer decomposer protists are those which have a phagotropic or saprobic mode of nutrition. So, here you can see these are the diagram of some of the slime mold, and this you can see here body moves along the decaying twigs, leaves, and engulfing organic material. Means it moves along the some of the decaying twigs and engulf organic material. And under a suitable condition, they form some of the aggregation which are known as plasmodium. So we remember plasmodium is a aggregation which is formed during this, and they spread over a several feet. And during unfavorable condition, this plasmodium differentiate and form a fruiting body. So we remember in slime mold, during favorable condition, they form a structure, a multinucleated structure that is known as plasmodium, and in unfavorable condition, they form a fruiting bodies. They also produce some of the spore. We will discuss the life cycle later on, and these spores have a cell wall. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years under adverse condition, and the spores are dispersed by the air current. The spores are dispersed by the air, by the wind. So they reach to their proper substratum. Now, if we talk about this slime mold, in this slime mold we have just studied one term that is named as plasmodium. Now you should understand this term very well and some characteristic related to this. Now plasmodium is formed by the fusion of some of the amoeboid cells or from the zygote, and this plasmodium is a multinucleated structure. This is a plasmodium. And this plasmodium is a multi-nucleated structure. As you can see, these are nuclei, and you can see several nuclei are present. So multinucleated structure is there. It is diploid. And it formed in favorable condition. It is formed in favorable conditions. So these are the important point that you should remember, because they ask usually question from this structure. Now, this slime mold are of two types, that is acellular slime mold and cellular slime mold. We will discuss a life cycle of them one by one. Now in acellular slime mold, you will see that from zygote, young plasmodium will form. So in zygote what will happen? Karyokinosis will occur. So by this also plasmodium can form, and by this process from the amoeboid cells also, these are amoeboid cells. So from amoeboid cells or from zygote also the plasmodium can form, and this multinucleated body will grow and that become an older plasmodium. So it become a diploid. Why? Because it develop from a zygote. Later on in unfavorable condition occur, they will form fruiting bodies, and these fruiting bodies will produce a spore by meiosis. Now these spores have a true cell wall, as you can see here, and that cell wall is made up of cellulose. Now reaching favorable or suitable substratum, the spore will germinate, and the spores germinate and form a two type of cells. Either it form a myxomoeba or either it form a swarm cells. Now after this what will happen? There are several myxomoeba. Either myxomoeba can form and form a zygote, or either these flagellated swarm cells can form, fuse like this and form a zygote. So either this can happen or this will happen. So based on this we can say here you find a fusion of a similar kind of cells. Either there is a fusion of swarm cells with the swarm cells, means both motile or non-motile are fusing, or either both myxomoeba are fusing, then there is a both non-motile are fusing but both swarm cells are fusing, then there is a what? both motile are fusing, means here what is happening, isogamy is happening. What is happening? Isogamy is happening. But next, when we see this life cycle of this slime mold, that is a cellular slime mold. You can see here in this cellular what happens, these myxoamoeba cells are there. These myxoamoeba cells undergo division and form several amoeboid cells. These several amoeboid cells will fuse and form a pseudoplasmodium. This is also a elongated branch structure. Out of this pseudoplasmodium, some fragment will be separated, and that fragment will act as a what in future act as a fruiting body. And you will find this sporangium, and this is the stalk. Now this sporangium will develop a spore, and that spore will germinate and form again a myxoamoeba. So this type of thing in which you will find there is a cellular slime mold is there. Now the confusion is here, why these are known as cellular, why this particularly we can say in previously which we have studied about the plasmodium, in which why they are known as acellular, because in this what is happening, this fusion is occurring, but in this fusion they are not getting completely fused, they do not lose their what a cellular identity during fuse, means they look like fused but actually they are not fused. Internal there is a division between them, they are just forming a community. So because of this cellular slime mold can also be called as communal slime mold. Okay, but when we talk about the previous one, that is acellular, in this complete fusion is occurring, so they are the what a particular cellular one, they have lost their cellular identity, so they are known as what acellular. So now I hope you have understood what is acellular. When there is a complete fusion of the cells, then it is a acellular, means they have lost their cellular identity. But when we talk about cellular, in these cells fuse, and after fusing they are forming a body, but in that body there are internal divisions are there, then this is known as cellular, because they have not lost their cellular identity. And this type of structure is of which one? Pseudoplasmodium, of which pseudoplasmodium, but this is a structure of plasmodium. Okay, so I hope you have understood this in a detailed proper way. So this was what a slime mold. But we remember, when we talk about the characteristic of the slime mold, one important feature I have found that here they have a cell wall in their spore, means in reproductive bodies they have a cell wall, in particularly their in reproductive bodies they have cell wall, they have a fruiting bodies, and they do lost their particular, they do not have their particular cell wall in the vegetative body. So if we try to understand this, so we try how it is acting as a connecting link between this organism, how it is acting as a connecting link between this organism, that we should understand. So we remember that in this slime mold, there is a presence of cell wall in spore. So cell wall is present in spore, means it is a plant like character, or it is a plant character. Okay, now cell wall absent in vegetative stage, means this is a animal character. But when we talk about specifically fruiting body formation, it is a fungal character. Means it is slime mold act as a link between slime mold act as a link between plant, animal, and fungus. Between these three organisms, slime mold are acting as a link. Okay, so I hope you have understood this, one of the important thing, and this is a easy point and important points that you should remember. Next we talk about the protozoans. When we talk about protozoans are the heterotrophs and they live as a predator or parasite. And these protozoans are believed to be primitive relatives of the animals. Now we remember this important statement. They are believed to be primitive relative of element, not advanced. In sometimes statement you find that they are advanced relatives of animal, then it become an incorrect statement. The correct is primitive relatives of animal. Now in protozoans, we will study that there are four type of protozoans. First two type are there, amoeboid protozoans and flagellated protozoans. Next we will talk about the ciliate and sporozoans. In amoeboid protozoans, it was found that they can be found in a fresh water, they can be found in a fresh water or in a moist soil. The locomotion that is occur by the obvious, that is pseudopodia, a phosphate we call, that is found in case of amoeba, and due to this they carry out what, a eating process. So two functions of pseudopodia are about. They have a silica cells in their cell face. We remember one of the important point, they have silica cells in the surface, as we have seen. We have studied in diatom as well that they have a silica cells, and anti-amoeba are parasite which are the example of the amoeboid protozoans with respect to amoeba. Now flagellated protozoans are a member of this group. They are either free living or parasitic, and they have flagella. The parasitic forms that cause disease is nothing but a sleeping sickness. And the trypanosoma is an example. You know that trypanosoma gambiense which cause a sleeping sickness. Now when we talk about trypanosoma, the vector for trypanosoma or sleeping sickness is nothing but a sese fly. Which fly? They have a sese fly. That fly act as a vector for this. Next we have a ciliated protozoans. These ciliated protozoans are those which have a cilia, and the example is paramecium. You know that in paramecium all over the body you will find the presence of cilia. Now when we talk about the habitat of this organism, they are aquatic, they are actively moving, and because of the presence of thousands of cilia, and the cilia perform a coordinated function. They have a cavity, gullet, that opens to the outside of the cell surface. The coordinated movement of rows of cilia causes a water-laden food particle to be secreted in the gullet. Now if we see the diagram of paramecium is somewhat like this, and in this they have a cilia all over their body. They have one small nucleus, one large nucleus, okay, and they have one opening, that is here you will find a presence of gullet as well. So this is the paramecium. Now sporozoans are those. Now we remember one of the important point that they have two nucleus. One is a smaller one, that is known as micro, one is larger one, that is known as macro. Later group is sporozoans, and sporozoans include a diverse group that have an infection spore forming stage in their life cycle, and these are most notorious is a plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite which causes a malaria disease, which has a staggering effect on the human population. That is having a staggering effect on the human population. So plasmodium, here it is a type of sporozoans which causes a malaria. There in slime mold we have also studied plasmodium, but that plasmodium is a structure which grow over the several feet.